a general discussion about mental health. It is not to be interpreted as specific advice for a specific situation. Every situation is unique and requires advice to be tailored and adapted to that situation. All information in this broadcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional mental health services. If you or a loved one are experiencing mental health distress, please speak to a licensed professional in your area.
Living well. It's time to shine that light that lives in you. Living well. It's not too late to change. It's time to be the change. Living well. It's time to shine that light that lives in you. Living well. It's not too late to change. It's time to be the change.
Living well takes a community. So remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share with a friend. Welcome to Living Well, where we attend to the mind, the heart, the body, and the soul. Now ask yourself, are you part of the rat race? Do you find that there are never enough hours in the day to get done what you want to do, what you think you should do, what you ought to do? Are you finding yourself exhausted, not even having enough time to sleep? Are you noticing that you are experiencing busyness to the degree that you feel like you are not getting anywhere? Well, if so, this episode is for you. And even if you think that's not you, it probably is. So you should stay and watch just to get a few tips to share with that friend who you thinking of at this moment that's not you. So what we want you to do is take a moment, sit back, relax, and learn how to take time to get to know who you are, what you want, and what you were born and purposed on this earth to do. And it takes time to get those answers. So welcome to another episode of Living Well. Hey family, welcome to the water cooler conversation. Now you already know where it is. This is a time that the docs come out of our office, gather around the water cooler, and talk about some of the hot topics of the week. And have we got one for you? So let's check out this video that underscores what we're going to be talking about today. Let's look at it.
Are we too busy? It seems like the culture is shouting, do more, get more, sleep less, and go faster. Overwhelm, noise, anxiety. Is this healthy? Maybe we need to slow down and calm down. And take a second to breathe. To be grateful. And to trust the process. No matter where we are or what we're doing, to take time to rest.
Okay, I just need to know who picked that clip trying to talk about me behind my back.
And I was going to say, just putting out all my business. That's what I was going to say, just putting out all my business.
Oh, my Lord. Are we too busy?
Well, you know, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I would be lying if I said that I have not been guilty of just doing, too much. I'm reminded of what we used to always hear when I was growing up. It's just not enough hours in the day.
Right.
It's just not enough hours in the day. Sometimes it leaves you feeling like that. But thank God, I've gotten to a place where I've learned to really enjoy relaxing. Because it took me a long time to learn to appreciate quiet time. Oh, but I got it down to a science now.
And I agree. I think this clip is a great reminder. It seems like, as was said in the clip, like our society really is telling us that our value is connected to us doing more, so that we could have more, so that we could be more, whether that's be more seen or be more accomplished or be more. So here we go. We enter the rat race. We're working, right? We're working 9 to 5, and then we have a side hustle,
right?
And then we're volunteering at the church on 17 different ministries, and then we're trying to support our friends and going to everybody's birthday party and baby shower and wedding. Like we're going. So at the end of the day, we lay down exhausted. We don't get enough sleep. Then we wake up exhausted.
No good for nothing.
No good for nothing. It seems like society tells us that if we take a day to sit back and relax, if we watch our favorite show on TV, then we're being lazy.
We're not
lazy.
Being productive. That's exactly what I was thinking. You're not being productive. But who says we have to be productive 24/7?
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is. We're living in this microwave society.
Yes.
How often we hear that.
Yes.
Microwave society. Everything's on the ready. Quick.
Exactly.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry, as my granny used to say.
That's good. We're living in a microwave society where we want everything now, we want to do everything now, we want to get everything now. And it can leave us feeling like we're not enough.
And Doc, that concept there, doing a lot, doing too much, but nobody really talks about the consequences of that.
Yes.
Nobody really wants to talk about, when we burnt out and overwhelmed because we're trying to do so much and we're trying to meet all these other obligations, and it starts to have a wear and tear on us. And not many people are really talking about that. We don't see that being played out.
Right. You don't. And we don't talk about the consequences. And if we back it up, people don't really explore why.
Right? The why.
So what is the why, and then what is the impact that it has on you? Like, we don't talk about, am I doing this because I feel like I have to prove myself that I'm worthy of something?
Right.
Or am I doing this because when it's quiet, I don't like the things that I think about.
Absolutely.
Or what come some trauma or something. I don't like the things that I think about. I don't want to sit alone with myself.
Your thoughts. Exactly. You don't want to sit alone with your thoughts. Too much quiet time gets you stirred up and
Am I trying to work my way into heaven?
Oh, works. Works.
Yeah,
the more I do, the more I do.
Yeah.
And then you think about these people. I'm on 20 different ministries, but am I really serving?
Right.
Am I really serving? How effective am I?
Right.
So what's behind that? Going back to the why.
To the why.
Yeah.
To the why.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, then the why leads to, I got bags under my eyes. I'm in the choir stand yawning, falling asleep during the sermon.
Snapping at folks.
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about the frustration, right? Let's not talk about getting frustrated and easily angered. I'm not cooking for myself, so now I'm eating fast food on the go, so I'm not taking care of my body.
That's right.
I'm not truly nurturing my relationships, whether it's an intimate relationship, my parenting relationship, or my friendship, because I don't have time to do that.
Right.
So when we talk about, the mind, I'm not regulating my mind and having time to kind of restore peace in my mind. I'm not regulating my heart because I'm not connecting to people and really having genuine, true friendships. My body is not being renewed because I ain't rested.
Not at all.
I ain't rested. And my soul, I'm not getting the outcome that I want with my soul because I'm really not spending the time that I should with God because I'm doing.
Not at all. All of that will result in a cocktail for going to see the medical doctor.
Yes.
Because we know it will manifest into some serious physical problems. So there's so much that goes into just being busy. Being busy, super busy, is not all glorified and it's not all cracked up. It's not what it's cracked up to be.
You're right. And because you don't live life.
You're not living life.
And so I think that's why this clip is such a great reminder that we need to take time to just be. We need to take time to allow ourselves to rest. We need to take time to thoughtfully make decisions about what we're going to do, what we want to do, and what we don't want to do.
Right. And I think we can spend a lot more time on those things that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no.
Yeah, it's okay to say no.
It's okay to say
It's
no.
okay to say.
And like saying no is healthy.
There should be a no ministry.
Yeah.
There should
exactly.
there should be a no ministry. And I also think it's important for us to acknowledge that there are certain periods of our lives, periods of time where we might have more demands.
Absolutely.
Where we might be more busy and we really don't have control over our schedule and we really can't pull back.
Absolutely.
But those should just be seasons.
Right.
That should be seasonal.
It should be seasonal. And when we come off of those busy seasons, when we recognize that there is some free time, don't try to fill that free time up with doing something else. Don't try to go and create something else.
Right.
It's so important for us to learn to say, oh, I don't have anything on my calendar. You know what? I'm going to sit up here and watch movies all day.
Right. Ooh, I love it.
Just watch movies.
I love it.
I don't have nothing on my agenda. Just embrace that time and be okay with doing nothing. Oh, I'm gonna tell you, I got real good at that. Real good.
I like doing nothing.
Yeah, me too.
I like it.
I like nothing.
So we have to truly be mindful. And some of us have jobs that are more stressful, more demanding, where there are more responsibilities. You got responsibilities at home, but carving out that time for ourselves is so very important. And I think that this is a great place to stop because we have somebody that is going to join us to tell us, because see, we're talking as psychologists. We see people, but we got somebody who's out there amongst the people every day, who can bring a different perspective, a different generational perspective, a different everyday perspective, a different ministerial perspective. So we got time for him. So stay with us. It's time for the interview.
Yes.
I am so excited to introduce our guest, Mr. J. Patrick Wise.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. I'm so happy. We are so happy to have you here. I have to mention your blog on the normalizehelp.org website, The Barrenness of Busyness. Oh, so apropos. Jump right into it. What is the barrenness of busyness?
Wow. First of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor. I think about it as like life on a treadmill, right? So you go to the gym, you get on the treadmill, you run 3, 4, 5, you walk 3 miles, whatever it is, and you get off and you've gone absolutely nowhere. And so many of us do life in that way. We're running, we're moving, we're going here, going there, kind of like what you all alluded to a little bit earlier. But at the end of the day, what does it produce?
Yeah.
What's the end result of it? So there's this emptiness to it. There's and that produces like this frustration that we have because you feel like you're putting in the time, you feel like you're putting in the work, but when you look at the fruit of it, there's nothing to show for it. And now you're lashing out at people, you're frustrated, you're looking inwardly, you're questioning yourself, all this doubt arises. It just provokes and like causes more problems than anything else.
That is a really good metaphor. You're basically spinning your wheels.
Basically,
Yeah, basically just spinning your wheels, not producing, not going anywhere, not moving forward, but you're exhausted.
Right.
But you're exhausted.
Right.
Now, given, your day-to-day routine, your responsibilities, your social circles, like, are you seeing this play out, like amongst your friends or
I'm a victim.
Oh, okay. Join the club.
I'm not like I know this ain't the couch, but I'm coming to the experts for the answers. Like, because when I think about busyness, it's almost like a cuss word, right? And by that I mean, when you say that you're busy, what you're essentially saying is that your life is out of control.
Ooh, okay. Well, see,
Right?
now you the expert.
You're right. It's like, let's think about it. Like, busyness is like on the flip side of priority. Right?
Yes.
Because a priority means the first thing.
Right.
And a lot of times what we say our priorities are and what we actually do are two different. Like, I might prioritize my health. I might prioritize spending time with my family, but I actually spend time on my phone.
Right.
Actually, like, binge on Netflix. And those, like, what I actually do are my priorities. But when I'm busy, I'm saying yes to everything. So much so that everybody else's priority is now my priority.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. That makes so much sense. And it makes me think about how sometimes people will say things are a priority
Yeah.
because they feel it's what they should say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's what I should say.
Yeah.
This is what should be important.
Yeah.
But it's really not. Maybe I really don't even care about that, or maybe I don't want to put the energy into it.
Right.
So rather than facing that,
Yeah.
I fill my life up with all these other things
Exactly.
so that I have an excuse or a reason that
Yeah.
my family is not my priority, or, cleaning up the house is not priority. It's like, have you taken the time to sit down and really accept the fact that I really don't want those things, or I really don't want to do those things in the way that society is told?
Right. It's like a clinical. I don't know. This is a clinical diagnosis. I'm not an expert. It's like you come down with a bad case of the shoulds.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
You got the. I should be here by now. I should be married. I should have
Yes.
kids. I should have a family. I
Yes.
should be making X amount of
Yes.
money, and you literally just kind of should all over your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's what we say.
Yes.
But no, that's the issue. Because now when I'm saying I'm busy, that means I have a problem saying no because I say yes all the
Yes.
time. Right? I say yes. So that whatever your problem is, it's now my problem. Like your stress is now my stress. Your anxiety is my anxiety. Your priorities are my priorities. Your fears are my fears. Whatever you're trying to get done, I'm the person you call on because number one, I'll pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Number two, I won't say no.
Yeah.
And number three, that I'll go to the ends of the earth to help you get done what you're trying to get done because ultimately I don't want to prioritize what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And that gets confusing because now you're getting into calling and what God wants to do with your life. Like, did God call you to not prioritize the call that he placed in your life so that you could prioritize the call on somebody else's?
Ouch.
Now you're going deep.
Yeah.
Right,
That
right.
ain't living well.
That's the opposite.
That complete opposite. But you know what, J. Patrick, you're actually onto something simply because, when you talk about people who want to make other people's priority their priority,
Right.
I can't help but wonder, are we talking about a distraction?
Come on.
Because sometimes people will get busy
Right.
doing other folks' stuff
Yeah.
as a means of distraction or a way to avoid
Yeah.
some of their own
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Like
Well, have
my
you-
dream I don't have to worry about my dream if I've given myself over to helping you out.
Yes, right. That's right.
Right.
But I can always I have a viable excuse in my mind as to why it's not happening for me.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh no, I serve,
Right.
let's go with the church setting. I
Right.
serve the man of God or the woman of
Right.
God, all this
Right.
other stuff, right? And
Right.
now, X amount of years gone by, I'm like, what happened to my dream?
Right.
My dream died.
Right.
Exactly. I think about people, I think about people who are in ministry,
Right.
multiple ministries.
Multiple. Right.
And like you said, feeling really good about, I'm serving. I'm serving in the house of the Lord.
Yeah.
I can't be at home cooking dinner for my husband because I'm busy serving,
Right.
And meanwhile, I'm neglecting my marriage or I'm neglecting my children or other responsibilities that I have. But feel like, it's good because it's all in the name of the Lord and I'm serving.
Right.
And you say, I'm neglecting my family, neglecting my. Sometimes, going back to what you said initially, I'm doing it on purpose because I want to be distracted.
You're right.
Because I don't want to deal with the challenges that I have at home.
Absolutely.
I don't want to face the, conflict
Yeah.
or the hurdles or the challenges that I have at home.
Right.
And so I distract myself by not being at home.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing it's maybe not frowned upon or people don't look at it negatively because I'm doing it at the church. So
Right.
it's something
Right.
that's pro-social, right?
It's justified.
It's justified.
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, and you'll even go as far as to get mad at people when they call you out on it.
Right.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you don't understand. I'm working for Jesus.
yeah.
I'm working for the Lord. I'm working for God.
Right.
Right. And you have to understand.
Right.
And if you don't, you're that's the enemy.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's-
We're gonna demonize that.
Right.
Bind that
Yeah.
spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think it's so important to go back to something that you said, like people, they don't know how to say no. And we kind of said it, in the water cooler segment. They don't know how to say no. And it brings me back to something that we were talking about and we often talk about is this word boundaries.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Let's
And
get
how boundaries in a lot of ways can be an antidote to this busy.
Right.
Right.
Because boundaries helps for us to define for ourselves what are our limits.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
what are the parameters that we put around our time,
Right.
our physical bodies,
Right.
our mental bodies, our
Right.
health. Like, what are the boundaries? To what extent do we extend ourselves or let, other things infringe upon us?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that kind of invisible line that
Right.
says, I have a boundary around my time.
Right.
Don't call me before 8 a.m.
Right.
Don't do it.
Please
It's about-
don't.
And
I put on
after
that do not
9:30.
disturb. Yeah.
And
Yes.
after 9:30.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw on social media, somebody put, people who use do not disturb at night don't give a dang about
Right.
the rest of the world. And I was like,
That's
well,
true.
yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
Basically.
Because the boundaries are boundaries not to teach other people how to treat us. That's how we think about boundaries.
Right.
We have to. The boundary is not for me. The boundary is for you.
Yeah.
Now I
I'm trying to
have to
protect our
make sure I
relationship.
uphold the boundary.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
That's true.
I got to
Yeah.
make sure
That's
I
true.
uphold the boundary.
Because if you articulate a boundary and people can habitually cross it,
Yeah.
the question now
Exactly.
isn't really a boundary.
No.
Exactly.
And you know what's so funny about that? We serve a God of boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like in the beginning, he clearly lays out the earth.
Yeah.
But then, he puts Adam and Eve in the garden, and the instructions are, from any tree you can eat except these two.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's a boundary.
Yes.
Right.
It's like, listen, you can do whatever you want. Just stay within this boundary. Don't cross the line. And when you cross the line,
There's a consequence.
There's a consequence.
There's a consequence. I always say, you play grown-up games, you get grown-up prizes.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So, and they got the ultimate grown-up prize, didn't they?
That's it.
So you with the people who are in your life,
Yeah.
you have to say this is the boundary,
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
you cross it, there is a consequence.
That's
And
it.
we don't generally like consequences,
No.
not the negative ones. And so people have to understand. We, as you said, we teach people how to treat us.
Yeah.
And so this is my boundary. And so being able to say, I don't think that I'm going to be able to come.
Right.
Or I don't think I'll be able to do.
Yeah.
Or, not this time, but keep
Right.
me in mind.
Right.
And I'll let you know
Exactly.
at that time.
Exactly.
Whether- yeah.
Exactly.
Why do, and now I'm pivoting.
Okay.
I'm trying to give me some help.
Okay.
Why do we have a problem holding on to boundaries? Like, is that an identity issue? Is that like a self-perception issue in terms of how I want people to see me or how I want people to view me? Like, what problems does that highlight in our lives when we have a problem setting up boundaries?
Ooh, can I go first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Hilarious.
so I've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for a while. And, I work with all, sorts of people,
Right.
gender, races, creeds, all of that. But I really like, exploring how Black folks' history in America has really impacted what we do and how we move.
Right.
And so I just want to talk about Black people just for a minute.
let's do
that.
But other people can probably relate to this. When you think about growing up as a child, and so this is not even Black specific, I take that back.
Yeah.
From a little child, we are taught to obey and do for others. That a lot of the praise that we get is because of our kind of appeasing and doing,
Right.
following instructions of others and doing things for others.
Yeah.
So we teach our children, oh, that's so good, you shared. You shared your fries.
Right. Oh,
But what
goodness.
if I didn't want to share?
Right.
Right?
Right.
But then now I'm selfish.
Exactly.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I get, no, baby, you should always share.
Yeah.
So then those kind of messages are repeated from the time that we're little. Oh, that's so great. You let them have your toy. Or, could you throw this in the trash for mommy? And I mean, we go to the Black household. Hand me the remote back in the day.
You gotta walk
back in
out.
the day.
You can be outside playing.
Playing.
Come in the house. Hand me the remote.
Hand me the
Right,
remote.
right.
When you just had to take two steps.
Yeah.
Just two.
Yeah.
Because when we was growing
you
up,
better
it
not say
wasn't
nothing.
when
Yeah.
we were growing up, it wasn't a remote. It was come turn the
Turn
TV.
the TV
Turn
channel.
exactly.
Right.
We didn't have a remote. See, that
And
was a few years.
Yeah, you better not say nothing. Suck your teeth. You ain't going back outside.
We don't do
Lock
it.
the door.
Like suck your
Lock-
teeth. You find yourself being
Toothless.
falling down the back stairs.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Quick
Exactly.
right hand.
So
Yeah.
a lot of these things, which parents do because you are instilling good values. You want your children to have kind of humanitarian values where they help others and they want to volunteer and do for those who are less fortunate or can't. But I think historically for so long, children haven't had voices
Yeah.
until they were adults.
Yeah.
So from 0 to 18, 19, 20,
Right.
you're at the wheel of what the adults, your caregivers tell you to do, and you don't have that voice. And so it continually reinstills in you, do for others.
Do for others.
Do what you're asked.
Yes.
You know, if it's not going to kill you,
Yeah.
then you're a really good person if you do this. So I just, that's one kind of factor I think that plays into this
Plays into it.
difficulty saying no.
Yeah.
How
Right.
old are we when we think about it? Because, you know, your family is your first caregiver until you can go to school.
Right.
So for at least 4 to 5 years, you're with them. Even if you're in a daycare setting, you still have this adult. So how old are you before you can say no?
Exactly right.
Think about that.
And somebody respects it.
Exactly.
And-
Like you don't get in
Exactly.
trouble.
And then going back to what we were saying earlier, now you take that background and now you add church and faith on top of it,
Oh, my
where they
goodness.
tell us it's better to give than it is to receive.
Playing the organ.
You know, so think about it. So now that even that is reinforcing it.
Yeah.
So we have a very difficult time saying no.
Yeah.
Going back to earlier, well, I got to do the work of the Lord.
Yeah.
I got to make it in.
Yeah.
99 and a half just won't do.
Won't.
You know, think about that. These are
Yes.
the messages.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So then how old are we?
Right.
When do we get to say no?
Right.
Do we start saying no after we've suffered some kind of ailment?
Yeah.
Our health starts to fall apart. I mean, really think about that.
Yeah.
And then what do setting up boundaries really look like for some people?
That's a great question. Because I even think about it as y'all were speaking about how it shows up in a family structure and how it shows up even in the church. Now I'm like, how does it show up in relationships?
Absolutely.
The problems we have with creating and maintaining
Yes.
boundaries in relationships.
Yes.
And how that can be the source of regret.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And dare I even say abuse.
Abuse,
Yeah.
right.
In some
Oh, most
instances, right?
definitely.
Right.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Most definitely. It becomes problematic because you may be conditioned to be needless and wantless.
Yeah.
Wow.
Needless and wantless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't need anything
Uh-huh.
and I don't have a right to want anything.
Right.
And I take that kind of belief about myself into every setting and situation that I'm in. And so that sets me up never to be able to say no.
That's so amazing.
Self-worth issue.
It's which goes back to busyness and priorities.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
You'll prioritize everybody else's life because you don't see the wants that you have as
Exactly.
being worth
Exactly.
taking care of, being addressed or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
And you know what? Another thing that just popped into my head, I have to say it.
Yeah.
And then what happens is when you move in that way, you tend to surround yourself by people who reinforce that belief.
That
Yeah.
part.
So you will surround yourself with people who always need something from you but don't ask you what you need. You surround yourself by people who praise you for saying, you are
Right.
such a good friend. You're always there for me.
Okay.
Reinforcing that behavior that
Exactly.
I need to be there for you or else I'm not a good friend.
And I don't need
And
anything.
I don't need
'cause I'm
anything,
here
so
for
I'll
you.
continue to
And
sacrifice.
because of that, you never experience the best of anybody.
Right.
Never.
Yes. Yes.
And you don't even think you're worthy of the best
Right.
of anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. See, this thing is deep.
Not yet.
Man,
Boundaries. You need a drink of water on that one.
I'm gonna drink it all so we can pass the offering. That's crazy. So boundaries, right? So that's deep. That's one of them bombs, like it just started dropping. It's like, wait, that. So as you like create these boundaries, I need to think about it how in terms of like when you're in a relationship with somebody or in a church or even in a professional setting, and you come to this realization, hey, I ain't got no boundaries. Everybody else's priority is my priority. Everybody else's business is my business, right? And now I learn better, so now I'm charged with doing better. I have to understand that announcing a boundary is going to reveal an enemy, so to speak.
I like
Hands
that. I need that on
down.
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that right?
Yes.
Right? Is that right?
Yes, yes. You know, let me
Go-
you know,
go for it.
as you saying that, I want to follow that up with this.
I'm gonna drink some more water while you
Drink-
go
drink
ahead.
right.
Go ahead.
The only person that's going to be angry that you set a boundary
Yeah.
is the person who benefited from you not having one.
Absolutely.
Keep going. I'm
That's
listening.
The only person that is going to be upset that you set a boundary is the person who benefited from you not having one. And that is that revealing of an enemy of somebody who didn't have your best interest at heart.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so that should be counted as a blessing.
That, and the revelation is the blessing.
Yes.
Playing the organ
Simply
again.
because, like, Doc Erica said, we are good in this relationship. One that's not reciprocal
Yeah.
by any means, because I am doing all the giving, you
Yeah.
are doing all of the receiving.
Right.
So this relationship is stable as long as I stay in this position. But the minute I establish a boundary
Right.
and say, wait a minute, this can no longer be, or I'm going to say no to this one.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure about that one. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Now we can see, oh, there's some friction.
Yeah.
So now you are upset and mad because I set a boundary. Revelation. Oh.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not, like you said, you don't have my best interest at heart.
Right.
Well, once that revelation surfaces,
Right.
this is why I believe there's value in boundaries. Because at that point, when I get that, my quality of life should increase. Because see, this relationship is no longer, I'm not benefiting from this relationship.
Yeah.
Only you. There's no reciprocity here.
Right. Oh, you with the big words today.
Well,
Multi-syllabic.
there's no give and take.
Reciprocity.
There's
and
no
take.
give and take. It's because iron sharpeneth iron, right?
Come on, scriptures. Yeah.
There should be give and take.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. You see, you give, I receive. You can receive.
Yeah.
When you hurt, I give. So there's a give and take.
Right.
When that doesn't happen in relationships, those are the ones when you set up the boundary, like Doc Erica just said. That's when the relationship or the value of the relationship or the nature of the relationship reveals itself.
That's amazing. Because what y'all talking about is shifting somebody's foundation. Like,
Oh, without
that's
a doubt.
that's an internal like core shift. And by that I'm saying, like the way I see it, as I'm understanding, you're saying like my identity is changing now.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right? And if my identity changes, then the people around me are going to have to change
Yes.
to like comport.
Yes.
Absolutely.
With that.
Exactly.
When one person in the system changes, the rest of the system has to change.
And that's personal.
Yes.
So now I'm not, because when you busy and you mad at everybody, you prioritize everything, you show up as pleasant, but you cuss them out in the car.
Right.
Keep it 100. Like you mad, you're like, oh, they make me sick. They always do this every time. Blah, blah, blah. Hey,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
praise the Lord.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you do that, when you announce something like that, you're saying my identity is shifting, and because my identity shifts, my role in this relationship shifts,
Absolutely.
and now you're getting a glimpse into how this person sees you. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. And what I'm also saying is, you know what? Today I make myself a priority. I'm making an announcement that I matter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put my priorities and my well-being and my desires and dreams or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's value, and I'm announcing my value. And I'm just making it seen. That's all. That's how I see it.
Give me practical, cause I'm over here like I need to do this. I feel like my little suit, my little cape coming on. Like, but what do I say?
So, this is what I would say practically.
Okay, cause I'm
Right. So the first thing that you can do to begin to make yourself a priority.
Yeah.
I say this, and I've said this multiple times. Put yourself on your calendar.
Right.
If all of these other events dot your calendar, but there is no place on there where it says J. Patrick,
Yeah.
and you have time blocked out,
Yeah.
that no one can disturb,
Right.
then you're not a priority. So get your little Google Calendar, your little Outlook calendar.
yeah.
Put yourself on your calendar. Give yourself time. There should be daily time.
Yeah.
There should be weekly time. There should be monthly time, all increasing in length. So
Right.
every day it might be 30 minutes.
Right.
Where you say, I can do what I want to do for myself.
Yeah.
Everything from nothing to, laying prostrate, in front of the altar,
Right.
whatever it is, and anything
Right.
in between. But there's nothing. And then weekly, you should have a few hours where you're like, this is just my time. Whatever I want to do with it.
Yeah.
If I want to spend it with people, that's my choice.
Right.
If I don't, that's my choice.
Yeah.
So you start to put yourself on your calendar and not let anybody disturb it. That's going to cause you to have to say no.
It sure is.
In English and Spanish.
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's no in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say Swahili, French, and everything
Right,
else,
right.
too. No is no.
Basically.
So that's the first thing that you can do
Yeah.
is put yourself on your calendar. And then begin to spend some time asking yourself, what are the things that I want? And God, what is it that you want from me? Begin to journal. Write down, what are those things that I want? What are those things that make me feel good? What are the things that I want? And begin to put those on your calendar.
Right.
See, if you start doing that, some of the stuff is going to bump itself out of the way because you're not going to be able to do all that and this.
Yeah.
So there's some things that are going to naturally fall by the wayside.
That's crazy because you said this whole thing done pivoted because I'm learning. I'm thinking. You said that I've attached myself to the identity that I should have. Like if I'm creating boundaries and I'm journaling and I'm carving out me time a day, a week, a month. Now I got to deal with the fact that the goals I said were my goals might not be my goals.
Exactly.
The dreams I said were my dreams.
Exactly.
That's an identity shift.
Right,
again.
exactly.
Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So now if I'm understanding it, like this identity shift is going to bring me to a better realization, perhaps a better understanding, a clearer sense of what I actually want to do.
Exactly.
The type of person I actually want to be. And that might be for lack of a better term, like a divorce from an old version of myself.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, and I think if nothing else, it will help you at least have some clarity as to the why behind all your shoulds. When you, this idea, I should have, sometimes we just move on in autopilot.
Yeah.
About these shoulds that we have attached ourselves, and maybe because they were from messages.
Right.
But at some point, we have to stop and ask about the should. Why was the should to begin with?
Yeah.
You know, why did I make this commitment to say yes and now say, oh, I committed, so therefore I should? Well, ask the why.
So I think that, this asking the why, setting out time for yourself, reflecting, all of that is going to equal to an identity shift,
Right.
which is going to cause an upset in your life until it stabilizes. There's going to be upsets. You got to be prepared for that as well. You got to be prepared for that as well.
Goodness.
True.
I think this is a great place to stop because we done gave the people a whole lot to think about.
You got to charge it anymore. You got to charge.
I guarantee.
Turn them to the book.
We have to turn to the book. So we always want to leave you with a resource that you might find helpful in learning to say no and setting boundaries so you can stop being barren in your busyness. So today we're just highlighting this book called Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend. So there's a book that you can read and there's also a workbook. They have like spin-offs, Boundaries in Marriage.
Yes.
So they have different, on Amazon, it is an ebook. We were asked that. So just to give you something else to continue to think about and work on in this area of your life, check out this book, Boundaries.
Yes.
With that said, we want to thank you for joining us on this episode. We pray that you have been blessed by what you heard today. We want to thank our wonderful guest, Mr. J. Patrick Wise, for all of his insight and bringing the outside in. And until next time, we want you to ensure that you are living well. See you next time. For more information and resources, be sure to check us out at normalizehelp.org. And you can always email us at livingwell@faithfamily.org to get a question answered or to tell us a story. You never know, your question might make it to air or be the subject of one of our episodes. See you next week.
It's not too late to change, it's time to be the change. It's time to shine that light that lives in you. It's not too late to change, now it's time to change. Now it's time to change, now it's time to change. Now it's time to change, time to change, time to change.